G'day guys. So I've done a video on the importance of servicing ECUs and why in your Lexus, your Soras and your LS400s and your Celsius, why it's so important to service your ECUs. It actually relates to pretty much all Toyotas of this era that need a set of caps and a check over and professionally fitted and sorted. Of course, a service is so much more than caps often, but we want to catch those ECUs before they fail, before they're totally burnt out and cause you lots of issues. So if you've got an ECU that's just starting to show those signs of needing a repair, or if it hasn't been done, please get it out and get it serviced before it fails. If your 1UZ ECU has not been serviced or repaired, get it serviced before it stuffs out, because it'll save you a whole lot of heartache. G'day guys, Galvin, Cartoon Company in New Zealand. It's a lovely day here at the farm. We've just had a couple of really shitty days of rain and cold, and Jason was freezing. He's been wiring a loom up. I was off doing other things and playing with the Datsun, and we just had some troughs delivered. It seems the truck may have had a little bit of a problem getting out of the paddock. They needed a little bit of assistance. But our topic today is going to be ECUs and the need to rebuild them, and the reasons for rebuilding, and a couple of things to look at. It came about because a guy I've known for a long time, used to do a bit of drifting, sent me this ECU. And it kind of looks a bit like this ECU's been in the ocean. And I asked him, has it been in a boat? He did say there's a bit of a story to it. You see, for a start, the outside is looking terrible. Before I pulled the lid, yeah, that could be a problem right there. Kind of an indication that things aren't quite as good as they should be. I pull the lid off, and it's got like a film all over the boards, like greasy, oily crap. Lifting the lid up, look right along here. Down in here, oh, this is able to see it. Well, when you can see it with this camera doesn't go too fine. Someone's tried to blob some capacitors in there, but also down in there, oh, you can just see that corrosion that's been on the board. This ECU hasn't been in a boat. It was in a surf, and the surf may have stopped or been caught up or bogged down on the beach. The ocean came in and claimed the surf, kind of flooded it. So this man has taken a bit of a risk, got it. It's actually been filling the engine up with fuel. It's just absolutely, the injectors are full on, fills the engine up. So it's got some issues in there. Then the starter motor doesn't work, possibly because it was trying to turn over an engine with cylinders full of fuel. So it's been hydraulicking. It's all bad. Now, I don't like selling secondhand ECUs. Actually, I really dislike it. Total, I pretty much try not to, okay? But I said in this case, I might break my rules if I can find a good one. So, I got out some ECUs, and let's have a look inside and see what we find. 1, 2, 3. This actually happens to be a Crown ECU too. See, it's wide. We'll have a look at it, compare it to a Sora one soon. There's number 4. That one has been rebuilt. So I got the first one out. I lift the lid off, and you can see I've gone through the top, the locks at the top there, whip the top out, and I get in. I'm going to get a little pointy thing here. A zip tie will do the job. We get right in here, and at the bottom of the leg, on this capacitor here, it's green. Oh, even better. physically leaking fluid out of that one at this present point in time. Stuffed. So that one needs a repair. This ECU still runs the engine, but it won't be running it properly, and it's going to fail a lot worse. Often when I see second-hand ECUs that have been sitting for a while, you plug them in, they go really good for about 2 or 3 weeks. And then it's game over, they exhibit the same problems. That was exactly the case with Hayden's LS400. He borrowed an ECU while we were getting his repaired, and my test ECU shit itself. You might actually pull that one apart and have a look at it inside as well. So that's number 1 of my test ECUs, my spare ECUs that's no good. Number 2. And in this case, and it's quite clear, like, look at the bottom of that one. Again, it's green, leaking down that capacitor. It's a little hard to see, but this one under here too, there's a big black blob around the bottom of the capacitor. Number 2, no good. Number 3. Now this one looks pretty good inside, if the bottom will stay down. The cap in the top, that one's okay. The board itself looks clean. A lot of people will open an ECU up like this, go, it looks clean, put the lid back on, it must be good. But you've got to look right underneath those capacitors to see where they leak. So this one, again, just down in here. And again, there's actually fluid, dielectric fluid coming out of that capacitor. And this one's just starting to exhibit burn marks around the bottom of it. Same deal, and there's some fluid coming out of that capacitor. So another one that needs a rebuild. 3 for 3. And that is why I recommend a rebuild. If your ECU isn't stuffed now, it's going to be. And it's a whole lot easier to fix them in this condition than when they burn themselves to pieces, like this one down here. So this one was out of a UCF 20. And we can see down in here, you can see it's had a big burn again. Dielectric fluid on the board, just there. Right around there. It's corroded, it's starting to take out tracks, damaged tracks, and causing lots of problems in there. This ECU also ran the car, but it didn't run properly. Intermittently, it was about as fast as a Toyota Corolla. Actually, I think a Corolla would have been far faster. That one ended up getting a Toyota Celsior ECU, so I swapped it in, and that got rid of the EGR codes and things like that. But it just shows that if this ECU had been serviced earlier, it would have prevented this failure and would have made the job a lot cheaper. So I did say I was going to pull the ECU that we're running, Hayden's LS400. Oh, it was a Celsior for a little while. So it was that one. It says Hayden was here, number 2. It's poo-poo. So I haven't, you right there? My background giggler's having problems. Sounds like giggling like a little girl. Well, I probably should say what some of the faults that you can experience, or some of the symptoms you can experience when your ECU's not working like it should. This one had really, really poor acceleration. Really, really slow. Popping, backfiring through the intake. You can have transmission issues. Not shifting properly with the transmission. You can have them randomly throwing fault codes for things that aren't faults. So you might get airflow meter faults. You may get temp sensor faults, transmission faults. If you actually look at the list of repairs or the suspected problems from the Toyota manuals, pretty much most faults on the engine, they will also include an ECU fault. Hard starting, poor fuel economy, right down to a no start at all. So the ECUs fail to a point where the engine will not start. What have we got in here today? Oh yeah, it's just leaked out of the bottom of that capacitor right there. Doesn't have the big burn in it. So this one, it's just dropped fluid out of this cap here and onto the board. All of the caps have got green legs, so fairly normal there. There's no actual big burn marks around that ECU at all. But there is a little bit of damage just to the board under that one there. Now I was actually having a bit more of a closer inspection. Just down in here, we've actually got some tracks that are discoloured and possibly got some damage as well. Really hard to see, but also a bit of damage down in there. I wire a heap of standard ECUs, like heaps and heaps of them. And they work really well when they're in good condition. And what we're seeing these days is, if they're not just a set of capacitors, and very rarely are they just a set of capacitors, by the time that's just starting to weep, there's often corrosion on the board, and these other issues. Components have to be lifted and be repaired properly. So they need to be sorted properly by a professional person to get a really good job. In the States, I happen to have built a relationship with Josh from Relentless Motorsport. He does a fantastic job for the guys in the States, does a really good job, and he fixes a few of mine if I buy them over there. I just get them shipped straight to him and he'll fix them. Over in New Zealand, I'm quite willing to put them through our guys over here. If you send me the ECUs, we can check them, get them organised, get it sorted, get them back to you. And in most cases, we can test them on a car or on a running engine if I've got an engine running. So as I said, it's really important to fix those ECUs before they become a problem. Just as a matter of interest, I happen to have a Mines Sora ECU here as well. This ECU is going to be for sale, but let's have a look inside it and see what Mines did to the ECU. Oh, we probably should look inside that one too, because that's a rebuilt crown one. That's probably going to solve my man's problem with the surf that went swimming. So this has had the capacitors. They've been popped in nicely. I think there was a little bit of corrosion under the header plug that was tidied up on this one. This one is all good. It's been tested and is working like it should. New cap up there, of course, the one under there, all done. This happens to be the Mines ECU. It's narrow, so it's a UZZ30. No speed cut, different maps, designed for 100 octane fuel. And that's what it looks like inside. So it's got this extra daughter board tucked on the top. Mines reprogram them. So that's attached to the factory board there. This one, it's going to need a set of caps put through it. This cap down here, again, has actually got corrosion underneath it. So that needs to be looked at. So I'm going to get that organised to be rebuilt as well. And then we'll test it before it goes on the market to be sold. It seemed like a good time to pull it apart and have a look at it, just to check what it was like inside. I've already run it on an engine on another job, so I know that it works. And with the tidy up inside, it should be a sweetheart, ready for its new owner. I just had another one arrive. Clean, look really clean. 141 crown. So this is number 4 open it up, it's clean. The seal was unbroken, so I pulled the seal off. And look in there. The igniters are mounted to the ECU. That one there. Look at the crap on the bottom of that one. Look, there's like a big lot of guns right around the bottom of that cap. That was 4. If I checked 5, 1 was good because it had been rebuilt. All 4 second-hand ones all had leaking caps. All were going to fail. Kind of says something about the caps in these. 30-year-old ECU, they really need a service before they stuff out. Every day on forums, I see posts of guys having issues with their cars and their ECUs are failing. So just a hint, get them fixed before they fail. It'll save you a heap of heartache, it'll save you a heap of problems. Hope that was helpful. Talk to you again soon. So I'm sitting here with Josh from Relentless Motorsport. Well, I'm not actually with him. I'm in my lounge in New Zealand, and he's in his car over in Texas. I think he just got out of bed, and like he's well ahead of me, and I've only just not long got out of bed, and I think I'm more awake than he is. But we're going to talk about his special.
Probably.
Yeah. And I made sure that he's wearing a shirt because that wouldn't make a good video. So Josh, you fix ECUs. How long have you been fixing ECUs?
I've been fixing ECUs now for the public anyway, not for my own personal, about 3.5 years.
Yep.
As of now, for the public, and I've been fixing them for about 6 years, just working on my own broken, stuffed junk.
Fair enough.
So,
and it's a great way to learn. And of course, you've done a few for me. I haven't actually pulled one apart. I pulled another one of these ECUs apart recently that had been rebuilt. That probably voided the warranty, but and you actually haven't seen the video that I've just done.
But yeah, all the ECUs that I work on, provided they've never been worked on before by an outside source, meaning like we have other shops in the U.S. that do them, like circuit board repair, whatever, we'll just make up a name. I cannot guarantee work on that because you never know what somebody else has done. But if it's OEM stuff that's failed, it's 25 years old or pretty darn close to it, or if not older, that's fallen apart, it's covered for 3 years. No bullshit. You call me, tell me, hey, it's not working. We'll talk it over. We'll figure out, hey, is it really still the ECU or is it something else? And if it comes back to the ECU, I'll either give you your money back or we'll go back over it or whatever. I stick by my word on that. So that's what I do.
That's good. I actually, I know you haven't seen the video yet, but I actually show a heap of ECUs that they just let go. Just the caps are just leaking a bit of fluid over the board, but hadn't actually started burning into the board. They're ones that just been sitting on my shelf. As you know, secondhand ECU sits for a little while, put it into service, and they just fall apart. So, or one that's been running in a car, maybe just not quite performing like it should, but not technically doing a whole lot wrong. We're trying to get them serviced before they stuff out.
So here's a weird thing with the ECUs. Doing some work with some of the dealers local to me here in Texas, I go back in the back parts room and they have some of these old ECUs for random things, Tacomas, Camrys, whatever, still's laying on the shelf, new old stock. And, for shits and giggles, I'll take it and I'll open it up. And those have never been used in a car. They're just old. And believe it or not, they're starting to leak. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, mate. Yep.
Those are literally brand new. They've never been in the elements. They've sat on an AC shelf and they're starting to go bad.
Yeah. Just exactly what we were talking about. And I showed a couple of them in the video, which worked out just perfect. So, hey, for all the people who are watching this, hit Josh up. How do they find you, Josh? Where do they find you on the internet?
You can look me up on Facebook, Relentless Motorsports Texas or TX. You can look up same on Instagram. We can go from there and get you sorted and get this ball rolling. As for turnaround time, a lot of people ask me this, and I just figure while we're on video, I'll get this. Turnaround time, I am the only guy here out of all the people that I just mentioned, and every now and then I got a couple friends that come here after work, and we're all car guys. We all kind of help each other out. I'm the only one though that can fix the ECUs. So if I got like 50 units and everybody thinks I'm going to get 50 units done by the next day or Friday, that's physically impossible. I can't do that, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to. So it would be anywhere from a week to 2 weeks turnaround time at best. And we can go from there.
Primo. Hey, that's the good stuff. Hey, we might have a chat again about some ECUs because that's actually really helpful what you've said in there. And we'll talk to you later. Catch you, mate.
Have a nice day.
See ya.